What, being on TV? Well, however, I've been on other shows prior to this.
Have you ever been like on Voice of Freedom or something like that?
No, but I have been on the Atheist Forum.
Oh, that's great. Anyway, I just tuned in and I just saw the little blurb on the screen. I don't even necessarily know what you're talking about. Could you just inform me in like a sentence?
Well, we're talking about
faith.
Faith tonight. You know, how we got faith, the fact that it doesn't really work, and what's the best way to run our lives in a reasonable manner.
Well, I thought I saw something about the reasonable woman too, and I'd just like to comment that as a person who has been all the way through religion, I started out with Christianity, and just being a male, but analyzing the Bible is so anti-woman. It's so have to put a woman in her place, and that's just the worst thing I've ever heard. I don't know how any reasonable woman could believe, anything from the Bible once it starts putting her in her place immediately. I mean, from the beginning, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's the reason for the name of this show, because there's a lot of shows out there that are aimed at women, and they're telling them, they've got to be all obedient and not speak, not use their minds, etc.
Right.
And so we're saying, no, you're a full human being.
Right. And one of the funniest things to me is the main verse they like to use in the Bible, trust in the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding. That's crazy, because if what separates us from animals, the other animals, is our ability to reason, if you say lean not to your own understanding, what are you doing? What are we supposed to be then, That's ridiculous.
No, I agree. I was singing a hymn in church one Sunday, and it was to that idea. It was, empty out all of my thoughts and only do what my Father tells me to do. And at the time, I was a young mother, and I thought of my two toddlers and thought, well, that's not how I want them to grow up. I want them to grow up and be able to think and decide for themselves.
Exactly.
So it seemed to me our Heavenly Father had the wrong approach.
Exactly. And the other thing, I'd like to also get your opinion on infinity really quick. I mean, because a lot of people say that the universe has an ending to it, and I think that would be just absolutely preposterous to say that, oh, here's an ending, because clearly there'd have to be something outside of that.
I doubt that it does, but of course that comes in again with the biblical things of Armageddon and the end of the world and all of that.
Right, because one of my favorite things, what I like to tell people is that I went so far into Christianity that I came out the other side. Well, I did. I was a Seventh Day Adventist, and if you know anything about Christianity, they're the most strict,
Yes,
the fourth commandment, remember the seventh day to keep it holy, and blah, blah, blah.
Well, I can understand what you're saying, because I had a similar situation.
Ridiculous.
I went very far into fundamentalism and then later into mainstream Protestantism, so like you, I have a broad background with it.
Right, and being a black male, it was worse, because on one side of the family I had the strict Seventh-day Adventism, and on the other side I had Church of God in Christ, so it's just ridiculous. You can imagine Pentecostal on one side and that on the other side, it's crazy.
Are African Americans very involved in Seventh-day Adventist?
Yes, I was at the time when I was a kid. I'm pretty young. I'm only 22.
Wow. We'd like to see some people like you around.
Well, I do my best to spread my message. I really do.
Well, I certainly thank you for calling and for your input, and call again.
Yes, I have faith that you'll do well.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye. Good evening. You're live on TV.
Why are you so ugly?
I'm going to have to just ignore